Everybody, welcome back to Bite Time. Harry McCullough here. We'll talk a little Terrebonne Parish Schools. Spend a little time with Bub Ogeron, the Terrebonne Parish Superintendent of Schools. So, Bub, thanks so much for being with us. I know it's been a busy time. It's been a busy 3 years, right? I know you've been more of a contractor than a superintendent, seems like lately, working on schools. So you want to give us an update on what we can talk about as far as there were 5 major schools, but then almost every school needed work.
That's
for
right.
Sure.
That's right.
Why don't you give us an update and particularly with Grand Caillou Middle?
Sure. So actually, Grand Caillou Elementary is the school that we're going to be making a decision on as to what happens with that building. That's one of the elementary schools that the building is basically total loss. It's like total loss, losing a car. So we have to make a decision on what's going to happen with those kids. Those kids and teachers, that faculty they're currently at Elysian Fields. Elysian Fields is right up the road from Grand Caillou Middle on Grand Caillou Boulevard, and it's a school that was vacant. Actually, we had our alternative school, and we moved the alternative school back to it's a previous site, which was at East Street. So that vacated Elysian Fields building. So we were able to put the Grand Caillou Elementary kids last year after the storm, after we kind of had a couple other options for those kids. Like they were in 2 other schools, and that wasn't working. It was very congested. So we were able to put them at Elysian Fields, and that worked out well. So the options that we have for the future of those kids would be, first option is to remain where they're at. Just take whatever money we get from FEMA for that building, and we could apply it towards safety enhancements and maybe some other things in other schools like Grand Caillou Middle. That was an option. So we presented that. We got public input on that, and we also presented other options. So that was option 1. Stay at Elysian Fields. And the cons about that, it's outside of their community. Not very far, it's a couple of miles, right. but it's still kind of up Industrial Boulevard, it's into town, it's outside of the community. So the second option we presented was kind of doing a merger with Grand Caillou Middle. Now, Grand Caillou Middle's building, it's a newer constructed building. It's relatively new, 10 years, modern construction, all coded. The day after the storm, we could have had school in that building had we had power. That's the difference between new construction and maybe being a little further inland, higher ground. So with that said, the option 2 would be to take the elementary kids and put them in that building, do some renovations, maybe add a few classrooms because it would be a little small, and then merge Grand Caillou Middle with Oaklawn Middle. Make like a bigger middle school on that side of the east side, kind of that would mirror LaCache and Montague that we're not considering that we're going to merge on that side. So you'd have the South Terrebonne middle school kids that would feed into South Terrebonne, and you'd have the Ellender middle kids that would feed into Ellender.
All on one campus.
All on one campus. So
for both of those.
Yeah. So you have like 5 to 8, like Ellender middle that would feed into Ellender High School. Same kids. And we take some of the FEMA money from the elementary building, and you could use it to enhance the Oaklawn facility as well to kind of just upgrade it and get it kind of to accommodate both groups of kids in that one bigger middle school. So that was option 2. And then the third option would be obviously to rebuild on site. The only issue with that is it's a good option. It's not a bad option, not a bad option at all. That's it. There's no other projects or opportunities to do anything for maybe other schools. So that's what we'll be deciding upon at the December 6th meeting, one of those 3 choices. So we heard a lot of public input, and so I think the boards will be ready to kind of make a call on that.
So that this will be voting on December 6th.
Yeah, this coming Tuesday.
That meeting. So right. Obviously this is a culturally sensitive,
very much so. Yeah,
community, right. So that's
so all that's been considered, and they've the community has made their opinions very well heard.
Yeah, everybody wants to walk to school.
That's right, but, exactly.
You got to do what you got to do.
And you look at population trends, you look at vulnerability of a building and putting something on higher ground. So all that has to kind of go into this decision, in my opinion.
Yeah. So you'll find out that day,
Right.
what you're going to do.
Yeah.
So we talked about they had 5 schools that probably had a lot of damage.
Mhm.
Almost every school had something, but 5 of them, and almost all of them are back, kind of even in a temporary point.
That's right.
Kind of like
right.
South Terrebonne, right?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, South Terrebonne and Ellen, as we know, they're in the temporary facilities. And I've said it from the beginning, we did it well. We made first class temporary setup.
Sure, yeah.
But it's good. It's working well. The educational process is continuing. We have all the same amenities basically that we had in a regular school in the temporary building. So it's going well. Upper Little Caillou, they're in a good situation in another vacant building we had. We were leasing it out to a church, and that was the East Homa School.
Mm-hmm.
The issue with that, it's so far
Right.
out of Chauvin, So, but they're making do until we could kind of do something on that site, which is kind of what the board decided to do is do a rebuild of that school there. And then the other one that we kind of mentioned before the show was LaCache. LaCache, we're kind of planning to kind of have a temporary building on the site of South Terrebonne High School for LaCache next year, because their building is substantially damaged, which just kind of means it can't be turned back into the state it was, originally before the storm. It's still okay, but it's long term. It's not going to last to get us to that point.
Soul City, I'm not sure we all be.
Yeah,
It'll take us a while to get back to where we were.
That's
before.
right.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back with more Bite Time right after this.